welcome to a new episode of Crop Source Investigations CSI. Here I go into the project that I'm setting up together with Victor de Klerk of analyzing crops and their origin so that we're able to trace that. I'm presenting this little segment from here within the Conquest Garden. So basically Meise Botanic Garden is a garden of gardens. We also have the Rose Garden, we have the Greenhouse Palace. There's really different places where you can go and learn about different aspects of plant systematics or fungi or lichens. Of course, there's a lot of diversity here in the garden. And so this one classifies actually kind of herbs according to external characteristics. So it's a way of trying to systemize the plants. Now the funny thing is, today we also had the meaning of starting to work in teams within the research department. And for this I had the pleasure or the opportunity of being part of the research department redesign team, let's say, which was a process of over a year of coming together, trying to work out a way for all the researchers here to have more efficient collaboration. So we ended up with working according to several teams and then having roles within the teams for organizing teams, managing budgets, public outreach, so I ended up in the team on global biodiversity challenges, and we had the opportunity today to give it a name as a new team. And well, I actually proposed Biodiversity Intelligence, BI, to kind of link to business intelligence and the fact that business intelligence will and is starting to use biodiversity intelligence for organizing their activities and governance as well. So this is focusing on the policy related objectives of the team that I'm working on, and of course the CSI project also falls within this policy driven work that we're doing here in the garden, of course, because CSI is for the European Union Deforestation Regulation and building up this capacity of checking where crops are coming from and that they're not coming from deforested areas. So that's how I fit within the team of Biodiversity Intelligence. I mean, we agreed upon another name. I won't be revealing that today, so keep following the channel to learn about that. It's quite similar, you could say. And of course, I have also the pleasure of not only working in this one team, but also the one for food and health security. So I kind of, working on crops is of course a food, and the process of analyzing them to trace their origin and knowing it doesn't come from a deforested region, that's the policy driven part. So I'm very happy here in the garden to be able to extend myself over different areas and working out the CSI lab to be able to do those trace analysis. Actually today I got first results back on the Hawaii Kona. I, in a video a long time ago, actually already did a tasting on this with my father. Now Hawaii Kona, Hawaii, it's around the Kona area is a volcanic area, so you would expect to find a very specific signal in those coffee beans. My expectations were finding actually less aluminium, because aluminium is very light element, so it's actually more enriched in the outer area of our earth crust. But of course volcanic, things coming from deeper down, so then I would expect aluminium to be less, but elements like iron or lead, of course, maybe to be more enriched. Now this Hawaii Kona coffee actually was very cheap. I would say too cheap, because Hawaii Kona is supposed to be the most expensive coffee. So here we did a quick test to get an initial feeling of how does the mineral composition of this coffee look like, and based on just looking at this evidence, like like a Sherlock Holmes of sorts, you could say, do I think it's really from Hawaii Kona? Now, in this specific case, looking at the initial results and not seeing iron or that much more enriched compared to coffee grown in Congo, where we're working with researchers there on finding new genetic diversity of the Robusta coffees, but it's actually very poor, nutrient poor ground, and in first analysis it didn't really look that different. So my hunch would be, on this initial observation, probably not Hawaii Kona, and it's just labeled as such because it's known as one of the most expensive coffees. Of course, I'm not putting my hand in fire on this. That wouldn't be fair to this company either. And actually, there's at this point, or I have this coffee from a long time ago, so it's legislation usually doesn't work backwards, let's say. But if you pay not a lot for coffee, then think about these kind of questions, because of course they are relevant, and we want to tackle these biodiversity challenges, and make a greener planet. So thanks for listening to this episode on how we are organizing the work around crop source investigations and coffee source investigations. Is of course my first hope for a name, but you have to be practical in life. I already love that I get to work on coffee somewhat here in my professional time, and then next to that I have all my hobby and personal business time, so a lot of coffee fun for me. So thanks for following, and hope to see you on a next episode.